Welcome to the Northeast Project Podcast. This is Chapter 2, Episode 4. My name is Kieran and I'm joined here again by Ben. How you doing, Ben?
Hi, I'm not too bad myself, thank you. Yeah, quite tired after a tough training week, but feeling not good. How's yourself?
We're only halfway through the week.
I know it's only Wednesday and I'm tired already, but yeah, putting the miles in. How are yourself, Kieran?
Yeah, so obviously just coming off big Great North run weekend. It's been a hectic weekend. The last few days have just flown over. Obviously coming off a very positive experience. Things in the club are good, and straight back into a new focus of the marathon. It's rolling well.
Exactly. We've had a busy few months, haven't we? So obviously plenty to talk about since our last podcast. Obviously, from the Villa York 10 miler. Lots happened since then.
Yeah, so our last podcast would have been, I guess, around our birthdays back in July. So we haven't done one for a while. Apologies that we haven't been keeping up to date, but we've been so busy working, training, and coaching. We haven't really had much time to do it, and so we're really been focusing on our events and getting our athletes prepared, working long days. So, I mean, our last thing we've got to talk about is we've got to talk about the coast to coast. We're going to talk about our next parkrun takeover. We're going to talk about GNR. We're going to talk about the build up to autumn marathons. People do a London, Manchester, York marathon. We're going to talk about the upcoming cross country season. Some of us haven't raced cross country for almost 18 months. We're not having it through COVID. Other than a couple of juniors who had some summer cross country events. We're going to talk about Ben's triathlon he did. Tons to talk about. This is going to be quite a good podcast. We've got lots of opinions, lots of things happen. Things are amazing. So, should we start with GNR? We may as well start with GNR. It's fresh in our heads.
Let's go for GNR. Go for GNR.
So, obviously, this was been long in the waiting. Obviously, we didn't have it last year. A lot of deferred entries over. Last time we didn't have any members doing GNR. So, last time it was on, we had maybe a handful of members in the club altogether. We didn't really have this thing going. And this time we brought a lot of athletes to it who had been preparing for it for months. It might have been a target back in lockdown. So it might have been a 9-month, almost a year target for some people. So it was a really, really, really important day. And for others, it was a stepping stone to autumn marathons, like myself and others. So it was sort of an indicator where we're at fitness-wise in a big event, in a big city event. This is one of the first big city events there's been in a very, very long time. I think it's been quite controlled small events, hasn't it, Ben?
100%. I mean, obviously, since the last 18 months, we've been doing small little one-to-ones and little group sessions, and you can run the groups of 30. So then to be able to come out with the GNR, obviously we did Villa York, which was a few hundred people, but nothing on the mass participation side. So be able to get out as a club together as the first time in 18 months, and as you say, since we started with a handful of members, was fantastic to see. And obviously a range of performances, different people, ages and abilities, but everyone performing to the best of their ability, and there was some really good performances out there, especially yourself, Kieran.
I've got my elite number already here.
So obviously talk us through it, Kieran. I know it's your first elite entry part of Great North Run. Just talk us about the procedures of the day, how you got there, how you felt before the race.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to put my hoodie on at the start, even though I was freezing cold, just because I wanted to show off my number, my non-number, my name and my number. It was class. The start was really weird, mixing with sort of Gail and Rupp, and who else was in it? Like Mark Scott and Jake Smith. That was sort of the top three, wasn't it? Surreal, really. Being at the front and then sort of able to warm up on the side, whilst everyone else just stuck in a pen. I felt a bit guilty. I didn't quite know where I needed to be. Didn't quite know what I should be doing. I didn't stick one of my numbers on. I didn't stick one of my tags on my foot. So there's all these doubts in my head at the start.
Were you supposed to tag on your foot?
Yeah, because obviously, like, if the chip doesn't work, there's like a 0.01% chance that the chip doesn't work in your number. And you want to make sure that it's timed for the person who crossed the line, if you're in the top three or whatever. And it didn't matter to me so much. So there's little things like that I know for next time. Also my first experience with an elite number. It was awesome at the start. I mean, everyone was so serious as well on the start line. You're right normally anyway, but it was really tense, if you like. Nobody was really talking to anyone, other than sort of the club elites, if you like. We were having a bit of crack and stuff. But yeah, the elites were quite serious. Obviously, prize money on offer, big race, a lot of attention on it. So
yeah,
it cost.
I mean, to be on the same start line as Gail and Rob and Max got, obviously probably your first experience with that is phenomenal. Obviously, you got Manchester coming up next month as well, and obviously your first mass participation race, especially GNR in a few years. So that's a fantastic experience for you.
Yeah, I think I was really happy to get a good time on the board, given that I did a lot of lockdown stuff and sort of time trial stuff, and there's a lot of questions asked. Was I good enough to run a certain time? I've done a lot of time trial stuff on my own and all that stuff. So it was nice to lay down a time, a PB, and a really good performance in a big competitive field, in a big race, and on TV. More better than that.
Yeah. What can you ask for? Did you enjoy the day?
Absolutely, yeah. One of the rare moments, maybe only had three or four runs in 12 years of running where you feel like you're just running on clouds, really, feeling good form. So that was one of them. Certainly heading towards the peak in this training block. I was riding away for that one, without a doubt.
And obviously your first mass participation race in the black vest as well, Northeast Project.
Yeah. I mean, it's great coming down the carriageway sort of on the other side with NEP running along, and other clubs and stuff from the northeast obviously recognise who we are. Shout my name and stuff as I'm coming down the other side, feeling good. Without a doubt. The Mandarin Caroline T still jumped out. Yeah, give them hell.
Give them hell.
Yeah, that was motivation of that. Yeah, just picking off those guys in front, chasing them down. Class.
Yeah, you look really strong when passing me. Obviously, I was stood with 500 metres to go, and it was that slight incline.
I didn't feel strong at 500 metres to go. No.
I don't think many people look strong, but yeah, it was obviously really good to see you. Obviously, come up and what a fantastic time as well, 67.14, which is phenomenal. 16, yeah. 16. Apologies, 2 seconds. Yeah. Which is phenomenal. Really good achievement, and plenty of other great performances as well from other club members. So just be able to witness that. And obviously, the first race in COVID was brilliant. Do you reckon you'll do it again next year, Kieran? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to late Henry again, so I'm not going to say no. I think it's a race I want to do every year. It's not the fastest half marathon, without a doubt. I mean, even the old course was tough. This course was definitely tougher than the old one, I felt. The last sort of 5K was quite brutal. At mile 10, you had a bit of a ramp to get up, and then the city centre was quite tough. And then there's a drag the last mile. So I think everyone, even the leaders, were down a bit. Like winning time was 61 and then 67 for women, which normally probably on the slower end. But given the course, obviously equal performance. It's normally winning about 60, isn't it? Females maybe getting down to 66, 65 sometimes. So even for them, they're a bit off. I think everyone was sort of expecting it to be a minute slower compared to a complete flat route. Yeah, which annoyed us because I really thought I was in 66 minute shape. I feel like I am. I just want to have a good chance at that. Maybe after marathon and nail that one.
Yeah, exactly. But as I said, it's a good, strong performance on the board, and obviously a great experience for you as well to be able to go out there and late entry as well. And you got a few clips on TV as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, other members, obviously we can't go through everyone. There's so many people doing it. Everyone did fantastic. Even if they didn't maybe have the best preparation, on the day they certainly gave 100% effort. Everyone has different reasons for not having the best preparation. You don't always have an easy run in, and not everything's in our control as well. So
yeah, I was going to mention that actually. It wasn't actually just about the performance this time. It was also about the preparation. Make sure you get there correctly at the right time, and make sure you correctly fuel with the right gels and all that sort of stuff. Getting the metro down at the correct time. Make sure you warmed up before, which is obviously it's quite hard. It depends. So it was a different sort of experience for athletes as well, not just in terms of running, but also in terms of warming up and getting the procedures right before the run, which obviously makes a massive difference. And it's so crucial, especially in cross-country season, which a lot of them will experience to the part of the winning.
Quite a few people mentioned about Great North, how just getting to the start sometimes harder than the actual race itself. It's quite a complicated one, isn't it? And obviously it was different this year. No one exactly knew how all the waves were working. And obviously a few metros were shut and all that. So it does add pressure to the race. And all you want to do is focus on the race. You've got on the walk at the start. I mean, probably walk 3 miles. If you come off the train station, you probably walk 3 miles just to go up and then around into the start pen and stuff like that. So all these factors add up.
It was easy for you warming up on the side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Other people who smashed it. I mean, I'm going to mention some people. I mean, my mum. I've got to mention my mum, Jackie Walker. Smashed a time 1:44. Sub 1:45, which is what she was wanting. Yeah, I never thought she could do that. Well, I didn't think she'd do it when she was only running a couple of times a week, but now I think she can do even better.
She's definitely listening downstairs. Up against the wall.
Yeah. Others from my side, sort of Jordan. Jordan did really well. Off not the best build up. Craig going sub 1:20 by 3 seconds. Obviously, he was on the line there trying to get under that. Repeating his performance from Industrial Estate. So good proof that what you do around Teesside Industrial Estate is you are able to replicate it in a big city race. So proving that I was wrong with that one without a doubt.
Exactly. And I've noticed a few other clubs have started to use TIE as well for half marathon specific sessions. So clearly something must be going right on that part.
Well, yeah, it's interesting when people use your own workouts. But it's difficult when you don't have context of the whole training cycle and taking workouts and just copying them. It's a bit of a recipe for disaster, really. But yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're a coach and you're copying other coaches, then maybe you need to look at your coach. Yeah.
That's an honest reflection point. Yeah. I mean, some points from my side, Cray and Nano were fantastic, 1:30 and 1:32 respectively for those two. And obviously, they've got London Marathon in a few weeks' time, so best of luck for them. But that was a really good benchmark for them. Karen Heshley running 2:02 was a great performance from her. Katie Lomas first half marathon, so fantastic run from her. Some really, really strong performances. Also James as well. James Glover ran fantastically well. Emma did really well, mid 1:45. So, some really fantastic performances there, and I'm sure they'll take that in confidence. And the ones that have been consistent and stuck with the block over the last 2 months are the ones that ultimately rule the awards.
Absolutely. I mean, we could name everyone and say you've been amazing.
Oh, I know. You feel
yeah, you're right.
And have, yeah.
Picking out, I've got a little head out. Like Amanda had a bit of an injury before. Amanda Waller had a bit of an injury going into it. Still completed in a respectable time. I know she's targeting Manchester half for the real one. Yeah, like Lee running 1:23, I believe. Still a kid, so come on, give him a break.
Yeah. It's a few people had some niggles as well.
I know you went out hard.
Yeah, there's a few people who had niggles as well. I mean, Robin had a bit of a foot niggle and she managed to get around, which is brilliant. Georgia as well has been struggling with a bit of a foot niggle, but again, she did really well. So, everyone's in a different...
Selena, 2:33. Karen, fantastic. Yeah.
Killingly had a great run,
Yeah. Brilliant, looking strong at the end. Yeah. I think we shocked a few people when we're standing 500 metres to go and we're shouting at them. Looking at expecting us there.
A few people got, But yeah, as I said,
it's funny for Simon. Simon just missed an hour, 2 hours.
Oh,
we get that, Simon.
2 hours and 3 seconds. Bless him. Yeah, you'll get that 100%. I mean, everyone's been part of a different training cycle. Simon's had a tough few months, but he's a tough cookie. He'll definitely get back on it. And some of the sessions he's pulling up through winter were high volume quality sessions, so he'll get back on that. Life situations happen, and he's a strong person. He'll get back on it.
Ian Taylor here as well, who's in a very good block at the moment, building up from sort of a trail background, and he's hitting the roads really well. He's building up for Smash the Dash at Leeds 10K in November. Back in October. But he smashed it. 1:30. What do you got? 1:35, I believe.
Yeah. I've been really impressed with Ian over the last few months.
Yeah. He's really, really focused and switched on. Great to see. Loads of performances and stuff. Yeah, that was GNR. Can't wait to do it next year.
Yeah, plenty of bottom memberships for next year. Yeah, I think I will. I think I've got a bit of form. Maybe not yet the elite place, but who knows? Definitely work that towards one day. I think just get one under my belt first, and then work from there and see what time I get. But yeah, I think one day it would be nice to even just have one race with Palmer on the front.
You are racing the half marathon.
Of course, yeah, which is my first half marathon, which I'm looking forward to. And obviously the training period's been all over the place, but obviously focusing on triathlons over the last few months. So specifically for a specific race hasn't been the greatest I wanted it to be. But it is what it is, and I've sort of been building up a mileage. I'm hitting sort of 70 miles a week, which is fantastic. Having any injuries, which is great. So I'm just sort of figuring out what I want to do. And then obviously into cross country season, I have a strong cross country season. Heading into the later part of next year, and hopefully try qualify for the senior men's team if I can.
Yeah. Just on that point about your injuries, Ben. Obviously, we have a lot of listeners who are maybe picking up injuries, or they're getting sore muscles, all that stuff. That's maybe preventing them from doing a certain training block. So obviously, I know you've been through a lot of injuries in the past, which has stopped the training altogether for large amounts of time of the year. What have you changed in your training to stop that happening this time around?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I put a post about it a few weeks ago, and it was a lot of things for me. I think the main thing was definitely the gait analysis that I did with the running, which is fantastic. Before I definitely wasn't running with the right amount of support, and everyone has a different support. I know you run with quite a light shoe, Kieran. You run with is it Boston rates? You run with?
So I use like Boston 8s and 9s for training.
Yeah, which is obviously a much lighter shoe compared to I use the Hoka Arahi, so it's quite obviously a heavy shoe but supportive. So previously I was wearing like the Nike shoes, the Pegasus and that sort of stuff, and the free runs, which wasn't quite working for me. It wasn't giving me the right support. So it didn't really matter what type of strength and conditioning I was doing. I was like getting injured quite a lot, even when I was just trying to build up a mileage. So I think the first thing is definitely to have a look at your shoes you're wearing and make sure that's the right form in terms of your bike mechanics and that stuff. Second of all, also just making sure you're doing your S&C. A lot of people not doing their S&C at the moment. Obviously, it's important to get at least 2 S&C sessions a week. Obviously, I've changed it sometimes as well. So we're starting to write people's S&Cs if they struggle with Zooms or recordings. And also outdoor classes as well, which is fantastic. So, there's a lot to get involved in that side. Also stretching as well. Just make sure I'm quick 5-10 minute stretches after every run. Just targeting the gastrocnemius, targeting the soleus, because I have a lot of calf issues. So just targeting the right areas in that spot. But then I think also as well, the biggest thing also warm up and cool down as well. Doing a lot more miles and warm up and cool down. And before previously, I used to have 10-minute gaps in between warming up and doing my session and cool down. Whereas now I just jump straight in. Which is fantastic, and it means I'm recovering a lot faster after my hard sessions. So, you put all those together and you get a good strong training block, as long as you don't pick up your mileage in too big of a gap within a short period of time. You'll be on the road to success. So there are a few points that I would specifically say.
I think all those factors rely on being in the right supportive environment, because you've got a lot of things going on there. And I think a lot of decisions to make on a weekly basis. So I think there's no sort of quick answers in the script to read from in terms of what's right and wrong. I think that's where coaches come in, isn't it? Exactly. Obviously, we coach almost each other, or we keep each other accountable, put it that way. We don't necessarily coach each other, but we spot errors in each other's training and lifestyle, maybe, that we can improve. And I think it's important you have other people doing what you're doing and to listen to them, take advice. And to adapt it, because we're all here to help each other.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously so much changes in a week as well. I mean, you can write a plan and then by Wednesday whatever you've wrote doesn't even apply because something's changed. So you've got to be adaptable to what you're doing, and everyone's got different weaknesses and strengths all to their own. Hence we say about adaptability and making sure everyone gets their own personalized style, because everyone's different. If we all just apply this general same structure, majority of people would fill. So it's about knowing what works for you and how to approach that.
Coaching is difficult, right? I disagree with 2 things. I disagree with 16-week plans on the internet, or even 10-week plans. It makes absolute zero sense. It's absolutely useless, completely useless.
I think so much changes in a day. Never mind 16 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many factors in a week. It's impossible really. You'll be doing workouts you don't need, that you're either too fit for, or not fit enough for, or not recovered for, and not prepared for. So they don't work. They're just they're rubbish. They're not adaptable to you. They're not personalised to you.
Exactly. I gave an example of that Tuesday session. I did 7 times a mile at threshold, and I was originally planning to do 8, and I was adaptable in the session because I had a hard S&C session on the Monday, and by 6 and 7, I thought if I do 8, I'm just going to damage myself. I'm not going to get any immediate benefit from the session. My pace is just going to drop, and I'm just going to make my glutes worse. So I just decided to drop out 7 And that was a quick decision that I needed to make on the spot. And obviously with the plans, you don't have that accountability and that sort of structure. You've just got that type of paper. You've just got that text on a piece of paper. That's all you've got to work off.
That's knowing your line in terms of what is progressing me and what is damaging me in relation to the rest of the week and the rest of the workouts. I think that's something that maybe might come natural to us too. We've been doing it for a long time, but I think for a lot of runners that's quite a difficult thing to understand.
Yeah, 100%. And that also takes time and progression.
An athlete,
Oh yeah, I mean obviously we see it from both sides, from the athletic side and also from the coaching side. And I think from your own perspective, it's very hard to sort of jump out and sort of see what you're doing, whereas you could pick apart everyone else quite easily, but looking at yourself is very hard to do. So just be able to ask someone else like myself or yourself, Kieran, is a good quality to have.
Yeah, I would say I've definitely found that line really, really good in this training block for the marathon, which I didn't necessarily find last time. I was probably going over the line a lot of times. I just know exactly where that line of I've done a great amount of work, but I want to stop before I get too fatigued. I think it's really important to find that. And I think that's what it's like, a sweet spot of training, if you like. Not too much, not too little, just right. Goldilocks, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously you had that block before the marathon attempt that you had at the early part of the year. Do you think that was a good experience in terms of heading to Manchester now?
Yeah, without a doubt. Even though everyone said I was stupid, I completely disagree with them. I think it was really good. I learned a lot. I learned that I wasn't fit enough. I learned that I had to make changes, and that's what I've done in this block. I'm not going to say see what the result is, but we'll decide after that. But ultimately, I made a lot of changes, maybe 20, 30 changes, big lifestyle changes, big training changes, environment changes, people changes, everything. And yeah, it's about knowing what changing. You've got to fail in order to be successful. And I failed for 12 years, so here I am, trying not to
exactly.
fail.
Yeah, learning off your experiences, and I think it was a great experience for you to be able to understand sort of what went right, what went wrong, and to be able to adapt that into a next block of 6 months into Manchester. And a lot of people probably don't realise that sometimes the failure is a great thing to do, and to learn from that and build it into another block to be successful again next time. Obviously, if you just keep succeeding, then you won't understand what you're doing wrong and what your weaknesses. So I think that was a good experience for you. Obviously, it's your second marathon, which is looking forward to. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a way better filter. And we'll talk about the rest of the podcast about filming up the marathon. But yeah, I'm content with where I'm at right now for now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so moving on to some of the things that we did in August, everyone. We've been very busy here at Northeast Project. Membership's been going up. We've been doing quite a lot of events. We've still been busy, but let's roll it back to coast to coast. So we didn't actually do a podcast straight after coast to coast because probably we were too tired and recovering from coast to coast.
We're probably asleep for most of the week.
Yeah. We just slept when we could. So yeah, we did coast to coast back in September 2020 in 2 days. This time we thought we'd let ourselves off a bit and we'll do it in 3 days. Well, I would say it was just as difficult. We had less runners. We had a committed bunch from NEP, and an even better support team who really were instrumental in being successful. So we did it over 3 days. So that's about 60 odd miles a day. And the whole route's 190 miles from St. Bees over to Robin Hood's Bay, over the lakes, over the Dales, and over the North York Moors. We thought that it'd be nice if we could finish sort of early evening each day, have a bit of a lie-in, all go smooth. It actually just ended up being all day, every day. We were running for in a relay format. Weather was absolutely atrocious, and yeah, we both came off it with a cold. Other than that, it was extremely successful.
It was certainly one for the Warriors, and obviously we got up very early on the Friday, ready to go for the 3-day experience. Arrived in St. Bees, ready to go 7 o'clock, and it was just absolutely bouncing down, wasn't it? And it was Zoe and Lindsay on the first leg, 6 miles, 7 miles over to first checkpoint, and we just thought this is going to be a long day. But as I say, we had less runners, but very committed bunch. And some of the experiences that some people had to go through were utterly ridiculous, and they'll never forget the experience. I mean, those first 3 legs, obviously he's already continued with Lindsay, which we'll talk about the awards in a bit. But I mean, what a resilient performance. And obviously mentioned to Lindsay as well, running 83 miles, is she? Around that area. Yeah, 87 miles, which is a phenomenal achievement, especially what she's been through over the last few months. So just so many highlights. I already know where to start. But as I say, what a committed bunch of individuals who took apart some of those legs in the middle, especially through Grossmont and Patterdale, in the hills. You know, absolutely phenomenal, especially in the weather conditions as well.
Yeah.
But a massive shout out to the support crew who managed to help the event to make it happen.
Yeah. It was brutal, wasn't it? The leg for me was probably Rossmere, the Grassmere. 9 miles of absolute brutal terrain. I don't know what it was, maybe 3,000 feet of elevation, just over 9 miles. But that's after we were both running earlier as well. It was me, you, and Adam Graham on that one. That was really cool in the wet. I felt a bit ill actually when I was doing it as well, so I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you did that one 2 years ago, didn't you? Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, I knew what I was in for, but you two didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were trying to tell me what it was like. I was like, I'll be fine. And then obviously it just opens up into the valley, and it's just up and up and up and up and up. And that was a tough leg, that.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, shout out on that leg from Tamsin and Lucy as well. I mean, wow, what phenomenal performance from those two.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about those two doing it. I think they're trying to wipe it from the memory.
Lucy was like, never again. But they went through that now.
We'll see the next year on it.
Yeah, I mean, thousands of feet of elevation. And, you know, the weather was horrific, but fair play to those two. They were out there for hours. It was a phenomenal performance. So yeah, what a performance. But yeah, how about yourself, Kieran, in terms of your coast to coast experience? How many miles did you get through?
Yeah, I sort of used it as a good training block. I did sort of a marathon a day. I felt quite ill on the weekend actually, I remember. So I wasn't feeling great. But I sort of picked all the hilly legs. I was sick of running on rocks by the end of it.
That's right, you picked the hardest ones.
There was one leg like Shack to Orton or something. It was like a road, and it was nice. The rest of it, sort of the Three Sisters, sort of Keld and Reith and all that area. Just before I didn't do Reith, just before that. And then the first day, Ennerdale Bridge to Honester Pass, which is my favourite leg of the coast to coast route. And waterfall coming down. Yeah, it was beautiful that one. Felt a bit unsafe. It was beautiful. Grassmere leg, yeah. So I did all that, and then the last leg was just brutal. We finished at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Didn't we? Me, you, Janet, Sainsbury, and Lindsay. Yeah, it was brutal, and we stayed in that awful hotel in Scarborough, which is just like a horror movie. On Sunday night, it's like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Yeah.
And I got a parking fine.
And you got a parking fine some of the weekend.
Shock.
Why do we do it? Yeah.
But exactly, those experiences make you as an athlete, and just to get out there. I mean, I did the longest miles I've ever done, and especially just running that night as well into the last leg back to the checkpoint was just unbelievable. We were running the early hours in the morning. Again, it was the same like that we did last time, wasn't it? And we somehow managed to get a little bit lost again. We did have the match. We got back on track. And obviously Kirsty dropped Janet and Lindsay off, and we were off for the last 4 mile. By that point, Lindsay was absolutely knackered, bless her. Yeah. But fair play, she stuck in there, coursing through an 11-minute miles and heading down towards the finish. So, overall a fantastic experience. And definitely weather-wise much worse than the previous year, but in terms of the overall experience and teamwork, it was a really special thing to witness over a 3-day period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very special.
I think it was just the way it all happened. Yeah,
it's almost nicer having a smaller bunch of people doing it. It was really a close-knit community, and we were incredibly efficient. We all ran as best as we could. I think it was just the way the weather was that knocked our time. So yeah, it was fantastic teamwork. And obviously a lot of people were doing more than one leg. So rather last time people doing less distance and more people taking part, a lot of people take up other people's roles. So I guess that was another reason why I took a bit longer. Some people do it. A lot of people are doing sort of 10, 15, 20 miles a day. So
Yeah, I mean, I think of some, especially individual performances. I mean, Zoe jumping in for the first 3 legs, totaling 21 miles, and obviously getting stuck on the top with the weather was just phenomenal. I mean, Lucy and Tamsin from Grassmere Patterdale, especially in that brutal leg, I mean, out there for hours, phenomenal. Think of Deb, Amanda, and Lindsay as well. Was it from Lion in to Shap, was it?
So we're staying lying in, weren't we?
Yeah,
we come in lying in. I'm having a pint, and we're all having like chips and coffee.
I remember that. Yeah. Busting my ass off for 9 mile from Clare Bank, and they're all there having a pint. Yeah.
And then what happened after that, Ben?
I can't even. Oh yeah. I lost the rock. Yeah.
You lost the rock. So we carried the rock for 150 miles across the country, and he lost the black rock. Couldn't believe it.
I've got no idea what he's talking about.
Everywhere. I have no idea how you lost that.
I don't know how I did with it, to be fair. I must have dropped it in the pint glass. I don't know what I did with it. Probably in my car. Probably somewhere. But yeah, I mean, we lost it last year as well, didn't we? So I was just keeping.
A record, haven't we? Yeah.
That leg from lying in though. I mean, it was 9 miles straight. I was like, apart from the first mile, it was a little bit hilly. Obviously, climbing up from the top from Clarebank. But I absolutely blasted that. I was popping off like 550s, 540s.
Yes, you lost the rock.
I did lose the rock. Yeah.
Doesn't count.
It was nice to be welcomed in by no one.
Yeah. Well, we obviously knew you lost it. Yeah. That was just the awesome weekend of Coast to Coast, and it's something we like to do as a yearly event, and we'll be back doing it next year, and we'll add some different features to it. We did have the idea of one team running from one end of the country, one team running from the other end, and seeing who can get to the midpoint the fastest. Maybe that's a challenge. I don't know. Logistically, probably a bit harder. But yeah, I'm sure we'll think of another cool idea next year.
100%, yeah. But definitely encourage those who haven't done it yet to get involved. And as I said, the part of it is to challenge yourself and get out of your comfort zone and do something you've never done before, which is exactly what the Coast to Coast offers.
Absolutely, it adds strength to the mindset. And, we've got parkruns every week, and we've got the same events popping up and all that. It's nice to get out there, be a bit adventurous, and do something different. And experience a bit more your running life and expand your horizons. Without a doubt, we encourage you to do it.
Yeah, it's not just all about times and progression. Sometimes it's about getting out there and exploring the world.
Absolutely. A week later, we went around Industrial Stadium with another event and smashed that one. So, hills is free work in disguise. That's what Frank Short used to say. Yeah, Olympic marathon. So, take it from us.
100%, yeah. There's a reason why we do it.
Absolutely. So, moving on to the next thing we did another combined park run at Hartlepool this time. Our members voted for a flat and fast one on the seafront. So it was an interesting one. It was a new, slightly different course. It was 2 miles out, 1 mile back. Probably one of the fastest park runs there is in the country, maybe. Nice and flat on the seafront. If the weather's nice, it tends to be a good PB course, or a good chance to break a course record, maybe.
Apologies, I was taking a drink there. Yeah, good chance to break your own course record. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you think, Kieran. I don't think you felt particularly the greatest, did you, when you got onto the start line?
I felt like I had COVID, to be honest with you. I felt disgusted. Yeah.
But you didn't, just put it out there.
I didn't have COVID, but I felt like really ill. I mean, next day I was really ill. I sort of just squeezing through a tough week. I was struggling on the warm-up. And if it wasn't for the bouncy shoes, I think I would have, I don't know what I would have done. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously now wearing the the Adidas shoes, but just a quick one on that, Kieran, before we talk about the pilot. What would you recommend for runners who maybe possibly are feeling a bit crap and trying to keep up a heavy training block, or perhaps training to the illness and stuff? What would you recommend in terms of keeping that up? Yeah, we all get into races sometimes feeling a bit crap, a bit under the weather.
Yeah, so you got to look at your training as in cycles, with your main goal at the end of the cycle, and maybe 1 or 2 important races within that cycle that you take down for, and the rest of it you've got to feel like death really on a day-to-day basis if you want to reach your potential. I mean, if you want a life, then I guess don't train so hard. But if you want to reach your potential, you've got to go to bed tired and wake up tired. There's no 2 ways about it really. you can. I think there's no such thing as overtraining, but under recovering. Something that I've changed is sort of the recovery aspect in terms of sleep, good nutrition, and sort of listening when your body doesn't want a hard session or when to stop in a hard session, when's enough. But I've always kept mileage very high, and I think you can never get burnt out doing easy miles. You know, nobody get burnt out running 100 miles a week running easy. Nobody ever. Once you build up to that, obviously, you know, build up by 10% over a period of years. Like I've built up to that over a 12-year period, so my training block's quite long. You know, I've had an increase maybe by 5% a year for 12 years. So it's different. It's different, I guess. I'm coming from a big base in consistency. If you've got consistency and discipline, it's fine. So I would say that if you are tired, you've got to distinguish between ill and tiredness. That's important. If you're ill, you've got symptoms of an illness. If it's mild, then I would say do an easy run. Don't do a hard session if you're ill. Unless you sort of find yourself in a situation like I did with a park where I'm sort of there and I'm like, well, I've got to run hard. It's only 5K, so just do it. But I did actually feel worse the next day, so it probably wasn't a good decision. So you got to distinguish between if you're ill or tired. If you're ill, just do easy or don't do anything. If a mile feels too strenuous, you feel dizzy and all that stuff, then don't do it. If you're just tired, you got to just got to get on with it and suck it up. That's what I would say.
Response, I like it. That's good. And obviously, turning up there. You should feel
tired in training. Like you go and do a training session, you should feel tired. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't. If you're recovered for a training session, then you're not training hard enough. You know, like you've got to have pre-fatigue going to a training session to get more benefit. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And obviously turning up there 8:30, obviously everyone meeting up, doing the warm-up together as a club and doing the drills and strides. It was nice for a few people outside.
The warm-up was off.
People outside.
There was nobody there for 8:30. It was crap.
We said get there for 8:30.
There was 3 people. There was 3 people there for 8:30. A lot of people missed the warm-up. The drills were okay. So yeah, I don't know what it was that morning. I don't know what people had for breakfast, but it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good for them at all. So,
no. People were just coming out with jips and jobs.
Some preparation was good, but I know it's only parkrun, but still, like, I mean, it's a race. It's a race at the end of the day, and you've got to treat it with respect. Yeah, I don't know. We like to have a professional stance. We like to warm together. Yeah.
Yeah, I see on the start line you were posing for the cameraman, weren't you? Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, the reason why we do these combined parkruns is to sort of spread our philosophy and maybe talk to some other people around the country about what we're doing here at Northeast Project. Our members to mix with us, I guess. And I want to break some course records. I want to see people have some nice PBs or maybe test themselves on a hilly course. And it's a good factor on a Saturday morning for us to meet up as a group from all different angles of the Northeast, come together on the morning and test ourselves. That's why we do it. Yeah, this one was good. The start area was interesting. Yeah, some people didn't know who we were and stuff, what we were about. We looked a bit serious. I don't know. Yeah, now it's like a little kid who was going off too fast.
Yeah, I mean, always shoots off too fast and dies.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, it's nice to show other clubs and sort of what we're about and stuff, and what we offer. And people are honest, and that's like what is Nothing Project, which is great. That's the whole point of it, you know. Obviously, to tell people about what we're about and what we offer, and what we're a bit different, which is fantastic. And just seeing the black vest out again as well. Obviously, we've only done one previously with the Hartlepool parkrun, and we've voted for our next one, which is Sedgefield. So that's fantastic. Have a go at Hartlepool Park. So yeah, obviously the first time that a lot of people done Hartlepool as well, which is obviously a fast course, and there wasn't much wind, which was brilliant. So PB conditions and course record conditions. So yeah, overall, a great morning. Just wish people would turn up on time for the one.
Yeah. And for some people, it was the first parkrun, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Especially Debbie as well. Debbie had a fantastic run. It was her first ever 5K, and she got plenty of support through the line from Amanda and Lindsay and other individuals as well. So she ran fantastic. She was going for a sub 38 minutes, and she ran mid 36:30. So she was fantastic. She really enjoyed the whole atmosphere, and she loved the parkrun. So she's going for a 10K in 4 weeks' time again. So it's double the distance. So it's quite a big achievement for Debs. As I said, that's the great thing about the club. Everyone's on the different journeys, and that was a massive achievement for Deb. And I'm sure this 10K will provide another great opportunity for her to smash it and get another time on the board. It's the first ever 10K. So
it's an important factor. Like, I mean, we've all got different goals, and like every goal's specific to someone. Might feel one goal big and one goal small. Like some people just doing parkrun for the first time. That's a huge goal, and we massively respect people for doing that. Everyone's different. Not everyone needs to run a marathon to have a goal. I mean, a goal is specific to you, and we massively support of that. And everyone's different.
Yeah, not everyone needs to run a marathon to be successful.
No.
And that was a huge success for Debs, and I'm sure she's only just started her running experience. She's never run before, and she had loads of issues in the first few months. Obviously, trying to pick up a volume, and she'd never run before, so she picked up nibbles and stuff, and trying to balance the strength and conditions. So it's a complete new learning curve for her, and obviously other members who would like to join the club who perhaps haven't been running for very long, or haven't quite trained in the way that we train. So, but that's what we're about. We support people, and ultimately, she had a great run, which is a first ever one, which is fantastic, and I'm sure she'll have plenty of enjoyable years to come.
Yeah, we try and give out these opportunities. So our events and what we target people towards is lots of different goals. So at the moment, like some people target marathon, some people cross country season, some people some relays, some people parkrun for the first time, and it's important that as a club we all come together and support these individuals at these different events. Having a real sense of variety about the club is what is really important to us.
Exactly. It's not just about doing the events as well, but it's also about supporting them and coming down, even if you're not racing, coming down to other races and supporting other NEP athletes who are on a different journey. Exactly, that's exactly what the club's about, which is brilliant. And that was exactly what Hartlepool was about. Whether you're running 15 minutes or 45 minutes. So
I mean, that's what we want from every member in the club, I guess, is that as we grow somewhat bigger and all that, I want, if someone sees someone else at an event, I want the member to be shouting at them saying, go on, give them hell, give it some, like, I think we want people to be motivating people from the sidelines. And we want people to talk to each other and support each other. Because in so many clubs in the northeast, it's so cliquey and backwards, it's ridiculous, There's like, people don't talk to each other and stuff. That's something that we never ever want here, And this is a different club. It's a different club and it's got morals and respect for people.
Yeah.
No.
100%. And if you don't like it, the doors.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. I came from those backgrounds and I absolutely disgusting. Yeah, it's disgusting,
It's not nice. But
people who sort of look down on people who are slow down or anything like that, I think it's ridiculous,
I hate that. There's a lot of clubs who like sort of just focus on the few individuals and athletes who are training around that swift period, and everyone else just gets left behind, which is definitely not the circumstances that any individual wants to be letting a level off 10 or 20, 30, 40, any individual doesn't want to be under that. So
just lazy coaching at the end of the day. You shouldn't have favourites. You've got to be equal for everyone.
100%.
You have to do because you all got to invest your time in everyone, and it works both ways as well.
Yeah. Obviously, the next parkrun that we're targeting is Hardwick Park, which is nice.
2nd of October, Hardwick Park, Sedgefield, on another slightly changed course. More of a hill, I think. Bring it on. Meet the full marathon and all that. It's the day before our first cross-country fixture as well. Going to come on to, but so some people will be running it hard, some people run it easy. I might just be going for bacon sandwiches, I think. Bacon sandwiches at Hartlepool Park Cafe are pretty good. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I think my joy on that one.
Sausage sandwich for Ben. Sausage for Ben. Bacon
and egg.
Egg as well, yeah. He gets the most on it. Maybe some hash browns as well.
I'll eat it before the run, so I don't give him formal.
Yeah, probably will.
No, I won't do it during. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. So Ben, you did a triathlon recently. At Harrogate, a sprint distance triathlon. Tell our listeners how it went. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, well, obviously it was a second ever triathlon that I've ever done. First ever pool swim. So I sort of knew how it would work this time, obviously in terms of the transition and what I sort of needed in that process. So I was prepared and ready to go in that sense. I did have a little bit of illness a few days before, which didn't help me. So I didn't necessarily feel. Yeah, so I didn't necessarily feel 100%. I knew that. And also I'd been away on holiday the week before. So I was sort of going into it just with like a level head and just thinking whatever I sort of had, I would just give. And I couldn't have given any more day. I mean, the swim was it was a strong swim start. There was only 16 people in the pool. But I was mid-pack in the swim, managed to overtake within the first few seconds. They're setting off people in 5 seconds wave, 5 seconds per wave. So I managed to overtake and get out the pool in a pretty strong position. My transition from swim to bike was quite slow. Again, it was just getting the cleats on and the bike. I struggled to sort of jump on the bike and get turning, which is part of the practice. And then once I got on the bike, it was all just sort of downhill from there. I have just bought a new bike, which I'm going to start racing on. But the one I had in the race wasn't particularly the greatest. And it really sort of showed that I wasn't doing any biking sessions, and especially a 2-lap course, which was 22K. It really let me down on the second lap, and by that point I was sort of trying to chase shadows and hitting into the run. I was so fatigued by that point. I had a fairly decent run, but it was nowhere near what I wanted to do. So overall, it was an average performance. I couldn't have given any more that hard. And obviously a complete different experience compared to Castle Howard, where I felt as if I did really well in that one. So yeah, it was a good experience, good learning curve. And as I say, just coming back from a holiday, it was a hard, strong triathlon, where I got my ass kicked by a few GB lads from Yorkshire in triathlon. So, it's a good learning curve. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more triathlons that I want to do as part of next year. But I think I sort of set my mind as if that I want to go for cross country this year. I think I'll just leave the bike and swim. And then obviously once cross country season finishes, I'll hit more of the triathlons into spring and summer, and really get a good biking and swimming training period in, that I haven't been able to do over the last few months. So I think that's the target, but it was a good setup for me, and I sort of needed that fairly to sort of have a think about what I wanted to do, really.
That's a good really good analysis, I think. And I agree with moving on to cross country. I think there's not many triathlon competitions, is there? So left in the winter. It's a target. I think it's a fair reflection given the preparation.
Yeah, I mean, they're all down south, and I'd have to put loads of months of biking training. I don't particularly want to fall behind the cross country season, because obviously I'd love to qualify for the senior men's team, and I've got loads of targets in. So I think just really knuckle down over the winter and see what I can achieve in the running side, and obviously come out the party next year. In 4 or 5 months, my running will be really strong, because cross country season builds up plenty of strength, plenty of endurance as well, with the miles that you put in, and especially some tough cross country courses. So it'll all help towards together. And if I can just get through the whole block without having an injury, as I say, I've got the correct support now, and I know what I'm doing in terms of my volume. I think that'll be a success to me. So as exactly, you need these failures to sort of learn and figure out what you want to do. So I think that's the plan moving forward. But yeah, definitely the swim and the run's good enough. It's just getting that bike up to scratch, which I will. But it'll just take time.
Yeah, I think you've got a great chance of making the senior men's team down in terms of inter-county cross country. It'd be great to see 2 northeast project runners in that senior men's team. I want to say it's a 9-man team, but I'm not entirely sure. 8 or 9, I'm not sure. I think it's like 6 count on the race, and then there's like a 9-man team. So that'll be going too. No reason why you can't. You know what you need to do. You've got the talent. As long as you stay injury free and you work consistently, you progressively overload, you will get there, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's exciting. As I say, there's no point having goals that don't challenge you and make you want to get out of bed in the morning and achieve. And obviously, it's a massive goal for me. But I'm ready to give everything I've got. And even if I give everything that I've got and I still don't achieve it, then it's a step closer towards next year. I've got to be realistic. I'm only 21. I've got plenty of years ahead of me, same as yourself, Kieran. So, I don't have to rush into it and, put all my pressure on myself, and I'd have to achieve everything by the year. Otherwise, I'm a failure. Like, that's not the way I'm rolling. I'm just going to throw myself at it, have a good training block, see if I can achieve the goals. I'd absolutely love to. I'll give everything I've got. And if I don't, then I'm a step closer next year, and I'll keep continuing to fight for it. And yeah, it should make me a better athlete and better person.
Yeah, so if anyone who doesn't know it, the inter-county cross-country championships is like the UK cross-country championships, where each region takes a select team of athletes throughout all the age groups, and competes. I think this year it's going to be at Loughborough again. Sort of a slightly hilly course, sort of a normal cross-country course, I would describe it as. Nothing insane. It's grassy. It gets a bit muddy after people run on it. I wouldn't say it's like an amazing looking course, but it's sort of in the middle of the country, so it's good. It's a good location for people to travel to. So it's like the pinnacle of the cross-country season, if you like, and it's usually qualification for either like the World Cross Country Championships. It's every 2 years, but I'm not sure what's happening with that. And then before that, so at the start of cross country, you've got the European Cross Country Trials, which is in Liverpool and Sefton Park, which I know is both a target for both of us. What we both be doing. Both raced it a few times, haven't we? Sefton Park's like flat. It's flat, but it's muddy. It's a weird one. It's obviously a good, really good, high quality race, which is quite early in the season as well. So it's a good indicator on what you need to change throughout the next couple of months before. So a national cross country in February, then inter-county cross country in March. There's tons of cross country races, which Northeast Project will be doing a lot of cross country this coming winter. My background, it's where I came from. It's where you came from, I would say, Ben, as well. In the younger days.
Yeah. I mean, I did all the NYST competitions when I was basically from the age of 9, 10, 11. So, yeah, I've definitely done a lot of those races. Plenty of mud.
I imagine you probably, those who are listening, you might do cross country at school, hidden in the bushes whilst the PE teacher wasn't looking.
Running on the tarmac roads.
You might love cross country, you might hate cross country. You might have bad memories of it. But I think it's a fantastic opportunity to race against the UK's best. And if you're not that serious, then it's great to compete against your local area, against other clubs. Really good atmosphere of cross-country races. It's better atmosphere than track races. Better atmosphere than a road race because it tends to be a circuit, so you can actually watch it. So great camaraderie between teams. So I'm all for cross-country and always have been.
Yeah, and I also think it provides a different experience and environment for people who perhaps maybe want like hard training sessions, hard strong training tempos, and aren't particularly too bothered about racing. To, it's up to 3-4 miles for the women, up to 6 miles for the men's, and on tough, grassy, muddy courses. I mean, what a better way to train than cross country. So it's fantastic, and as I said, it's a great atmosphere compared to track and circuits. And I think the greatest thing as well, it's not worry about pace and stuff. It's just how high you can finish in the race, racing against other people. It's just classic human racing, essentially, beating the person in front of you. I never tend to wear a watch because I wouldn't be bothered about what distance I'm running or what pace. It's just about trying to hang on and catch the person in front. So it's a bit different. It's a bit of a mental refresh compared to your normal racing.
Strava.
Say them?
I was put a watch on for Strava.
Not that bothered.
Yeah, well, it's got to be on Strava. Yeah.
Sorry, I do apologise, Kieran.
Yeah.
I'll just manually input it.
Crap on Strava, isn't it?
Yeah. I always give the comment section a quick refresh.
Yeah, cross country sort of demands a cross country. I think it's an important point to talk about. It's like it's completely different to a road or track, and it relies a lot on having a bigger aerobic base. You can't cheat cross country. You've got to be an aerobic animal.
It finds out all your weaknesses, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, it does. It makes you more of an all-round athlete. Just remember so many tough cross-country races. What's your worst one? What was your best cross-country race, Ben, and what was your worst one? I know the worst one, maybe.
Yeah, well, the
first.
Yeah. The best one was 3 years ago when I qualified for the Northeast team. Actually, there's two qualified for the Northeast team. I had a really good. I'm having two. I had a really good run there. Finished up quite highly, and I really surprised myself. Actually, I qualified as a reserve because someone dropped out, and I managed to finish like 5th out of the Northeast team. So that was really good. That was at Loughborough again. One at Loughborough. Can't remember.
So you raced in the counties.
Yeah, I raced in counties for the Northern team from the 20s. Yeah, that was the first ever experience. That was surreal. But also the Northern Relays last year. It was in 2 years ago. I think it was in Blackburn. Sheffield, something like that. Yeah, my geography is horrific. Yeah. Which we managed to get a silver medal. That was a 2 miler, so it wasn't exactly specific cross country racing, but it was only 2 mile. But that was one of the best runs I've ever done. I managed to come home with the silver medal. So that was fantastic as well. So there's my 2 best ones. And then the worst one I've ever done was definitely Northerns. We're talking a few years back now. I just completely bombed. I got a bit cocky as well at the start, or a headband from someone else. And yeah, just completely bummed after 2K self way too fast. It catches you out, unfortunately. I mean, the pace of cross country as to how fast people set off is ridiculous. They set off at a fast pace, and if you get caught at the front and you're not aerobically strong, then ultimately it's going to be a tough 8K to go. And that was the situation. I just set off too fast, and I just bombed by that point, and I was swimming in the last few K. So a lesson learned there. How about yourself?
Where did you finish, man?
Oh, like third last, second last, something like that.
We shouldn't laugh at that. Yeah, but relative to your
you just laughed. I didn't laugh at it.
No, there's nothing wrong with coming third last. Yeah, but relative to your performances, it wasn't very good.
It really wasn't.
I'm allowed that
really wasn't. It was a few years back. I'm a much more mature athlete in person now, and yeah, I can look back at it and move on.
I think your head went and so your legs.
Oh yeah, a bit of both. And
the headband, it was digging in your head too much.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just too cocky. Just looking back, just definitely no. It just gives me cringes and goosebumps all around. But yeah, how about yourself, Kieran? Obviously, you've finished very highly in cross country race. Obviously, you've completed the nationals as well, which I've never done before.
Can't believe you've never done the national cross country.
Never done Parliament Hill, no.
Skipped it.
I've always been too scared.
Is that the month you normally have off? February, too dark, too cold.
Too dark. Yeah. Hibernation by that point.
Yeah. Well, my worst, I'll tell my worst. 2013, running for Durham County, purple vest and all that. I came, probably have to check power attempt for this, but I want to say 264 out of about 300. Bottom year intermediate boys, something like that. So like I must have been, what's that, 14 or something?
Yeah, 13, 14.
14, tiny thing, very tiny, completely underdeveloped compared to everyone else. It was a tough course at like Derby. I forget what it was called, of course. But it was the last race of the day, and it was so turned up. It was so difficult, and I was injured going into it as well. So tiny thing, injured, and yeah, I just had an awful race. But that was my worst, and ever since then, I've always had a better race than that. So I've progressed since. It was a kick that I needed, you know.
I was the exact same as you, I think, especially through 8, 9, 10, just too small. Just didn't have the leg strength, especially through cross country when you get turned across. You get turned over by lads who have already developed fully. So so you gotta accept that on race day. You know, that sort of age group, especially for lads, is very difficult. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my best one. Well, if you had two, I'll have to.
Go on.
Probably 2017 National Cross Country Parliament Hill. 28 out of a big field, hundreds. In the under 20s. That was, I've got a picture actually. Which one? There it is.
Go on.
Get
out.
What?
Look at that.
Running for Central at the time. There's the London skyline in the background. That was Parliament Hill. I finished 28th. That was really good. Highest position in the national actually. And the other one, I guess, was probably when I was racing the Leeds National Cross Country, Harewood House. 87th in my first senior men's race. 87 sounds a long way back, but out of the sort of 4,000 that started and competitive field and all that first senior men's race.
I think 87th is phenomenal.
Yeah, I was one top 100 at the time, so that was good. I'm excited to see what I can do this year. Always felt like I was out of my depth in that. So
I think you always do.
Yeah.
I think you always do, just because there's thousands of people.
Yeah, and like I say, fast starts. It's the style of racing for cross country is more demanding, like you say, with a fast start. Try not to put anyone off it.
It's so fast.
And then you love it, and you love it so much after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many cross country races, isn't there? You've got your local leagues. You've got, in terms of North East, you've got the NYST, North Yorkshire South Durham League. You've got the North East Harrier League, which is a bit more popular, but more sort of Newcastle, Sunderland, Durham way. And then you've got your North East Championships, your Northern Championships, your National Championships. You've got your European cross country trials, which is in Liverpool in November. And then you've got your National Cross Country February, and you've got your Inter-County Cross Country March. So that's the schedule. And it sort of gets more competitive as the season goes on generally. So you tend to build your fitness throughout the whole cycle. Trying to peak in February and March, the national competitions, and that's sort of how that cycle runs, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's not to say you have to do all those races. That's not how it works. But a majority of them you should be able to target. And yeah, it'd be a nice experience. A lot of people in the club haven't done them, so so even just give them a try and sort of see what they're like. And if they're not for them, that's completely fine. But definitely builds up a different aerobic base compared to just normal park runs on a Saturday morning.
I think you come off it with more. You feel like you've been through an experience.
Oh yeah.
Like you feel like, wow, that was brutal, but wow, I feel alive.
I think it builds a different mentality as well, and I think it makes you ultimately stronger, not just physically but mentally.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for cross country season.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who haven't done cross country. I've put the name down, so congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Well done. That's really good. So looking forward to seeing you perform.
Yeah.
Make sure you get your black net vests.
I'm drag you into
it. Yeah, drag you into
die with us. Yeah. Well, I'll pick you up from your house, right? We'll come round in a minibus and pick you up.
I don't think a minibus is big enough.
That doesn't sound too good. Though.
I think you need a lorry.
Don't go there. No, but on the bigger events, Northeast Project, we will be putting on transport. Say that now, yeah. We will be putting on transport for the bigger events. So, yeah, bring it on.
And then.
So just to finish off this podcast, everyone, it's been quite a long one. Obviously, lots to talk about. But yeah, we're approaching London Marathon, approaching Manchester Marathon, we're approaching York Marathon. If anyone's doing anything lucky, like Paris Marathon, that's coming up as well. New York, Boston, all that stuff. Every marathon's going on the next few weeks. So it's going to be good to watch other people. Yeah, I can't wait to have a go myself.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Obviously, this is what the last few months have been boiled down to. Obviously, as you say, York Marathon, Manchester Marathon, London Marathon. So it's going to be very exciting. Not just people in the club outside, people in the club as well, also performing. So it's the last few weeks of crunch time. Best of luck for those who are doing those competitions, because quite often, I know that's what you've been training for the last year. So very best of luck for everyone competing in those competitions. And of course yourself, Kieran, who are looking to finish as high as you can and close that sub 22 at Manchester.
Yeah. Sub 222.
I don't know what I was saying there. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll be up with that. Yeah. I mean, I imagine anyone else who's doing a marathon right now probably feels like they're getting a bit nervous or sort of thinking about different scenarios that might play out. You might be looking back at your training, thinking you're good enough. Obviously, when you get to sort of 3 weeks to go, you want to start bringing things down a bit. You want to start reducing your training load. 2 weeks ago, you definitely want to start reducing training load. And then the last week, I think, trying to keep occupied and not, obviously, you're training a lot less. You're probably doing half or 40% less than what you normally do in a week. You've got probably more free time. What you haven't got to do is fill that free time with something else that's going to be another stress. So, yeah. But that's what it's all about. It's a whole cycle, isn't it? Of nerves, and then pain, and then relief, hopefully. So, yeah, it's the marathon mania, isn't it?
Yeah, and exactly. There's so much stuff going on, and even the last few weeks is just mentally mind-boggling. Just being patient and trying to take yourself over, even to race day, the preparation on race day, and feeling if you've got the confidence. Not sooner. There's loads of things going on, not just physically and mentally. Just our advice, I guess. What's the one advice you would give Kieran? One piece of advice.
One piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the final lead into the showdown. I don't know. I've never done it. I've never done it, so I'm learning myself. I would say take confidence from the hard work and hard sessions you do. I would look over your hard sessions actually. I would take confidence from what you've done in the past. So tonight, Great North, there might be some of the key marathon sessions I've done. Sunday, I've got quite a big test, the marathon session. Looking to do sort of close to 20 miles at marathon pace in different variations of intervals and stuff. So I would take confidence from that. Take confidence from your big mileage weeks. This is if your preparations went well. If your preparation hasn't went well, I'm not sure what to say. Don't put yourself in that position again. Yeah, don't cancel
enjoy the damage.
Don't cancel it, but yeah, don't do it again. You know what to do next time. But that's what I did last time, didn't I? So yeah.
Exactly.
Know that you can't change anything, I guess, is the word. 3 weeks to go, maybe 2 weeks to go. Know that you can't change anything. Physiologically, nothing's going to change. You can be fresher or you can be more fatigued. That's the only thing you can determine. And you want to be fresher, not fatigued. So that would be my advice.
Good bit of advice, Kieran. I like it.
What about you?
Obviously, I've never run a marathon before either.
No,
so
but obviously, you're training people to run a marathon.
Yeah. I think the one thing for me is to ultimately enjoy it and run with confidence. I think definitely. I mean,
what about like leading in? So what you think? You know, when you're sitting at night and you're worrying, and you're thinking about, am I going to do those last 6 miles? What advice would you give to people for thinking that?
Exactly what I just said there. Confidence in yourself and and your own ability, and even what you've just said there about looking back at previous sessions and just almost looking back at your diary. I mean, Final Surge offers a great platform, not because you get to see your own diary for the last weeks and months, and just circling back what you have done, and I think reflecting a little bit on the journey that you've been on to understand how hard you've actually worked, because a lot of people I think forget that when they get on the start line. Just appreciate how hard you've worked and some of the sessions and the mileage that you've put in. And I think once you sort of look back and you reflect on that and you see what you have done, you know, ultimately physiologically you can't change anything in the last week or whatever time frame you've got. So, you know, ultimately run with confidence, enjoy the day as well. I mean, obviously it's a tough distance and it's a lot of minutes, especially when you're in pain. It's my advice. Run with confidence and enjoy it.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I totally agree. Yeah, what an exciting period for those who are doing a marathon. Yeah. I can't wait to watch London. Yeah, the week before. I know that's a good thing actually, watching a big marathon on TV, you know, like, and watching how athletes do London. And then having to do it the week after. I don't know. I think I'd have it first.
Oh, I don't know that one, like. Oh.
I might not be able to watch it.
Yeah. I'll throw your bro up under the window.
Yeah. Be interesting to see actually, for me, my perspective, I guess, is looking at similar athletes and what they do at London. And yes, thinking, can I do that in a different city? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's too analytical. Maybe not.
I think just focus on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Focus on yourself. Wrong advice, folks. Wrong advice.
Yeah, they won't be focusing on you, so just focus on yourself.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
All right.
Right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed all those different topics we talked about. Yeah, we've talked about a lot. It's been over an hour. Yeah, what an exciting period we've had, and what an exciting period we have to come as well. Hopefully, our next podcast is less of a gap between podcasts. So we'll probably do one just before. We'll do one after our combined parkrun takeover thing at Hartlepool Park. So we'll do it the week leading into the marathon. We'll do a podcast.
Yeah, and after the first cross country.
Yeah, after the first cross country, after London. So we'll catch up in about 2 weeks' time. One last thing, actually, we're doing a workshop. Almost forgot. We're doing a workshop, a running workshop, like a training weekend. Me and Ben delivering it at Dufton, over at the North Pennines. So just off the A66, and just before you hit the lakes, there's some lovely juicy hills that we're using for our environment.
Don't say juicy hills.
Do a couple of days of training. So Saturday is going to be like a hill session. We have a hike up Nick. Hike up Nick's a famous fell over that region. Fantastic, beautiful place. I'm going to use it as my training. Ben's going to train hard for it there, ready for cross-country season. It's great if you're doing a half marathon, a marathon, cross-country season, whether you're a junior and you're just building up for cross-country coming up, or whether you just fancy a bit of a social and you want to have a good day out. Running workshops, certainly that. And yeah, you have more advice from us too. That was it. So yeah, 100% recommend it. So check out Dufton Workshop. It's on our page, Facebook page. It's on our website. Check it out. It's through RaceFest. So if you go on RaceFest, you can find it. But yeah, highly recommend joining us on 25th and 26th of September at Dufton. And you don't have to do both days. You can just do one. If you're doing do both, you're welcome to. Okay.
100%. Yeah. Definitely get yourself there. See the preparation to cross country season. Those who do benefit from it. And yeah, looking forward to it, especially for our own training as well.
Yeah, have 100% better experience in the park, can put it that way. Okay. On that note, we will leave you. We love you, and catch you in a couple of weeks, guys. Have a fantastic couple of weeks of training and racing. Catch up soon. Thank you, everyone.
Exactly. Thank you very much for listening, guys, and we will see you in Chapter 2, Episode 5, just after the cross country and the Hartlepool parkrun. Okay. Thanks for listening, guys.